Fontys is actually located in Eindhoven, which is the place to do ICT, in my opinion. It is where most of the companies actually are based in, so recruitment, internships, all of that are a lot easier in here, I would say.
What I love about this study is that I do not have formal tests. I have assessments where I present my work, which I've done in the past week or weeks, depends on the project.
I really like the whole idea of having the freedom to choose what you want, because I knew that if I started one profile and I did not like it, I can.
Hello, Mr. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so now
Hi,
let's
Mr.
begin the today's session.
Okay.
Let me look.
Okay.
I have to share my presentation, I assume.
Yeah. Later at your session, you will be sharing about the Fontys, especially ICT.
Oh, and that will be what time?
After the opening and the opening remarks.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you should make Michelle as co-host.
Oh yeah. Wait.
The moderator, yeah,
It's
the
done.
moderator will open the session, Michelle.
Okay. I'll begin. Okay, hello everyone. So this afternoon we will begin our global chat with the topic Introduction to Fontys ICT, an international university of applied science and focus on innovation. First, let us welcome our speaker today, Mr. Michel from Fontys University. We also have special guest, Ms. Tina, a representative from Fontys University. Thank you both for joining this global chat session today. I would also like to greet all of the students who have taken interest in this topic. Before we start, don't forget to turn on your camera. Okay, so now we will have opening remarks from Ms. Tere, an IMT lecturer and UC representative. Ms. Tere, the time is yours.
Thank you, Jesselyn. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon for our speaker, Michelle, in Netherlands. My name is Teresia, the coordinator for International Partnership and Networking from School of Information Technology here in Universitas Ciputra. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this special session of UC Global Chat. Yeah. And today we have the privilege of learning
Ms. Tere, you forgot to unmute yourself.
Okay, still mute.
Yeah.
We have a problem with connection here in Ciputra. So again, thank you so much, Mr. Michel, who will share valuable insight about the academic programs and learning environment, and maybe also career opportunities at Fontys ICT. And I also would like to extend my warm welcome to Butina Purwono, the Fontys University of Applied Sciences representative in Indonesia. And for all of our participants today, I encourage everyone here to actively engage, maybe take notes, and I hope you all get a lot of insight from this event. Again, thank you, Mr. Michel and Bu Tina for joining. Back to you, Jacqueline.
Okay, so we will also have opening remarks from Miss Tina. Miss Tina, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, friends from UC. I'm honored to be present here, even via online, to give you all UC students options to study further and to continue study in the Netherlands. We will be glad to welcome you later, and I hope this session will be useful for you to choose your study path further. I think that's all. Thank you, Michelle, for presenting the info session later, and let's let's have a successful session today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Tina. So we already heard the opening speech from UC and Fontys representative. Okay, so we will now enter the sharing session. Mr. Michel, the time is yours.
Let me first share the presentation, of course. One moment.
Okay.
Let me have a look which I have to share. I have to share this one. And I'll put it in presentation mode. Okay. You can all see it?
Yes.
Yes.
We do.
Perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share a few things about Fontys. To make sure that you're aware of where we are. At this moment, I'm in best. Sorry? Okay, I'll continue. At this moment, I'm in Best, city near Eindhoven, where I live. A lot of students live in cities around Eindhoven. And well, I have some bad news. It's 2 degrees at this moment, but it will be 8 degrees later on this afternoon. So then you get a little bit why I'm sitting in a certain clothing. Let me put this one further. Fontys, University of Applied Science in the Netherlands. A lot of people always ask me, what's Fontys about? Well, Fontys is basically a little animal, and you see often the little fish in the left lower corner. It's a little fish which gets out of the sea. It's actually not a bird, not a fish. It's in between. But the idea is that it's an animal that can accelerate. But basically, it's the University of Applied Science in Eindhoven. We have 2 universities in Eindhoven: University of Applied Science and University of Technology, and both both serve both serve a certain audience. Dual degree. A little bit about my career, but that's not the most important part. Most important part is, of course, the information for you. But I've been working for the university now for some 15 years. Before I had my own business in ICT, and before that, I worked also at a big company called AXO Engineering, which is a big chemical. That's more the chemical industry. Where are we? Where do we have locations? Well, here you see the map of Holland. Of course, here you see Amsterdam, as you see my ruler. We have on the right Germany, on the bottom Belgium, and well, after Belgium, of course, there's France. We're situated. Well, Eindhoven itself we're situated in Tilburg, Eindhoven and Venlo. Eindhoven has its own airport. you can fly out. This last weekend, I just flew out to Innsbruck to do some skiing. You can easily go all over Europe. It's not very expensive to fly in Europe. Amsterdam is an hour with train, but you also have airports in Germany, in Belgium, and so on. So transportation is quite good. Tilburg is known as the home of the creativity and the business. Logistics, that's more or less the port to Germany, Venlo. From Rotterdam Harbor to Venlo, there's a train connection that transports quite a lot of goods, but it also goes by water. And Eindhoven, of course, is let me place this thing at the other side. Eindhoven, of course, is Europe's leading region of innovation and top flight technology. You have to imagine that the number of patents, patents is when you do an invention, the number of patents per square kilometer is the highest in Eindhoven all over the world. And you'll see a lot of companies around Eindhoven, and it's pretty much the Silicon Valley of Europe, which becomes, of course, in recent politic developments, more and more important. Eindhoven itself, when I came here some 30 years ago, 35 years ago, it was pretty much a Philips-dominated city. It was not very international, but the last 35 years it completely changed. Philips is not so much present anymore. The biggest company is, of course, ASML. That's one of the biggest microchip machine manufacturers in the world. But you also have a lot of other industries which are very interesting. Tilburg. Here you catch a little bit an idea about the older city of Tilburg, which is also creativity, business, and Venlo, the logistic hub to Germany, which is a smaller country, a smaller city than Eindhoven, but still very cozy and very safe. In this part of the presentation, I always show a sheet, but I left it out this time, a sheet about bicycles. You have more bicycles in the Netherlands than there are people. And the bicycle stands for safe transportation in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. There's a very low criminality rate. Not much things happen, and it's quite a safe city. So in the middle of the night, you can ride your bicycle as a woman through the stove, and nothing will happen to you. And that's important, of course. Then about let me put this somewhere else. Then the location, easy accessible, which I already said, safe country, which I already mentioned by the bikes, internationally oriented. We have some, I don't know how much, 80, 100 nationalities nowadays around the area of Eindhoven. And there are huge huge community of Indian people, Indonesian people, Bulgarian people from Eastern Europe, but also quite a lot of people from countries within the European Union, so Germans, French people, Spanish, and so on. Quality of life, it's a vibrant student life, not too vibrant. It's not comparable to Amsterdam, but it's vibrant. Sport facility nearby, we have the TUE, which is across the street, which just renewed their sports facilities, and it's completely up to date. Great public transport system, good work-life balance. We always say in the Netherlands, don't work hard, but work smart. The opportunities, well, we have lower tuition fees than most English-speaking countries. By the way, our programs are all in English, so don't think that it's in our own language or something like that. But all these programs are, of course, in English and are English spoken. And by the way, most people you address in the Netherlands will respond to you in English if you speak English. Part-time jobs and careers are fully available around Eindhoven. We are always looking for people in every sector, whether it's a part-time job or a full-time job or a job in IT or in whatever. English is sufficient in most cases, but it's always good to learn a little bit of Dutch. Why the Netherlands? Why Fontys? Well, let me check. Did I? No, I didn't skip one. Why Fontys? Modern way of teaching. Student is in the lead. Practical approach. Focus on professional technical skills. We have a good industry integration. I will. Let me have a look. Should I? Toelaten. Yes. Okay. There was somebody waiting in the waiting room, and I clicked on toelaten. Yeah. I don't know whether I have to do that, but never mind. Industry integration. We have, of course, two internships normally in the bachelor, half-year internship in the industry. Often after a graduation internship, also people get hired by that same company. We have over 150 partners in education and partners in innovation. Minors locally and abroad, collaboration with businesses is huge. We have students from over 120 different nationalities. We have 34 English taught programs and basically 5,300 international students. Let me have a look. I don't have to let people into this meeting, eh? And somebody else is doing that, I assume.
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect. Then let me see. Education system in applied science. We stimulate the development of individual talents of the student, and the starting point is the authentic question, challenge, or the problem from a professional practice. That sounds difficult, but basically it's teaching in a real situation. So teaching in a situation which would also occur in industry or is in industry or is an actual challenge from industry. The guidance of the students is adaptive to the needs of the student. We have an department which we call Student Plus, which is very much, let's say, specialized in students with special needs. And special needs can be anything. I don't have to get into detail, but any problem you will run into, whether it's anxiety things or whatsoever, they address. Because often in other institutes, for instance, being in the autistic spectrum or something like that is showed upon as a handicap. We see that as a talent. And for a software engineer, it can be a huge talent to to be able to concentrate very well. We want students to take their own learning process in their own hands. So there are lots of opportunities. Learning outcomes. Well, learning outcomes will perhaps, for you will be new. We basically we formulate what would be at the end of the semester a learning outcome, and you have to fulfill that learning outcome. You have to prove that learning outcome. And for instance, in semester one, you orient yourself to a broad IT work field by immersing yourself in various parts of the curriculum, and you choose the next step that suits and substantiate this choice. So orienting is a learning outcome. You should have been oriented, or you should have oriented yourself after that semester. And in that perspective, a lot of things are formulated in learning outcomes. Educational system, of course, you have different type of universities, research universities like across the street, University of Technical University of Eindhoven. It's more theoretically oriented. We are more practical oriented. That means we apply the science. You directly work with what you learn. We focus on the application of knowledge, though. Yeah, you have to understand that in IT things are going so fast. And this afternoon, I have to speech for a few of my graduate students, and they at this moment are very much busy with artificial intelligence and applying artificial intelligence in, for instance, hospital emergency situations and so on. So it's cutting edge technology in an area where it wasn't applied before, basically. The bachelor is 4 years. but there are exceptions. You can speed it up by doing the academic program. That's 3 or 3.5 years. And of course, the dual degree is a huge bypass, of course, which can be 1.5, or 2 years. Structure of the ICT new bachelor. Well, the bachelor digital transformation, that's expected in September 2026. And that's 2 years and another study at Fontys and 2 years of ICT and graduation at ICT. So, for instance, if you studied paramedics, you can also study in ICT in the last 2 years of your study. That's a new version of our bachelor. Then we have let me click on this one, master degree. We have, of course, the Master of Applied ICT. And we have a master, which name is under construction, and is expected in September 2026. A new master, which we don't have a name for yet, but will, of course, also be in the area of artificial intelligence, software engineering, and so on. Focus on orientation. From orientation, you go to selection. So the broad orientation on the IT work field. We are AD, BA, MA accelerated. We have profiles, we have specializations, and we have open. So that there are different choices for the educational system. Open is you choose a lot yourself. Specializations are things that came new into the IT field. Profiles are more the steady themes, and this is all getting along in your studies. New start semester, we completely redid the start semester, the new start semester. It's based on a lot of portfolio, but also based on very much orienting in a broad field of ICT, because the ICT field became broader and broader over time. Before we had business, infrastructure, media design, software technology, which technology is basically embedded engineering, but lately a lot of things were added to it. Data science, artificial intelligence, or a combination of artificial intelligence and smart industry things and so on, or directly connected things. I don't want to get into the structure of the start semester too much. It's a new version which is executed right at this moment. We're learning on the job, and in September we'll do the second one. After the propedeutic phase, which now is still business, infrastructure, technology, software, and media, but will become a broader choice where also game design and artificial intelligence will be incorporated. Then for semester 2, you do a profile choice. Then basically after that, you can choose whatever you want. You can choose artificial intelligence, data analysis, cyber, ICT, education, game design, smart mobile, smart industry, open learning, media design, infrastructure. Whatever you want is possible, basically. I can't see part of the sheet. Software engineering, of course, technology, and what I also already mentioned, the academic preparation. What's the study setup? Let me put this away. What's the study setup? Well, very simple. Semester 3, you choose a profile of your choice, but that can also be a specialization nowadays. At this moment, this is the setup of the study. So if you get into the study later on, we change this by the semester, but the semester will become more broader. So there will be more choices in the future. Semester 4 specialization, 5 is an internship of 18 weeks, semester 6 is a profile of your choice, and of course 7 is a minor, which can be a semester abroad or a semester doing something completely different, and then you graduate in a company. Internship semester 5 and semester 8 are both in a company. Let me have a look. Let me get this away. Dual degree options. Well, the dual degree options limit itself at this moment as much as to business and software engineering. At this moment, we're expanding the programs, but it's not actual at this moment yet. But we have a 1-year program where you do semester 6 and 8. So you do the advanced, for instance, advanced software engineering semester, and then you do the graduation, or you do 1.5 year. That means you do 3, 6, and 8. Or depending on your practical knowledge, yeah, and applying knowledge, you do 3, 5, 6, and 8. And 5 is the internship. So then an internship is added. You will be a half a year in a company, which is always, of course, a good opportunity to expand your knowledge about that. From September, we have a new setup. Basically, we're still doing a little bit the same things, but you call them a little bit different. And what we also did is we basically not only have the learning outcomes, but we also pinpoint some themes to the semester. So it makes it a little bit easier to choose. For instance, in the introduction, the old software engineering 2 semester, we deal with the software lifecycle, software development, design and testing. And then in the main semester, so that would be semester 3, agile development, quality assurance, software process automation, and in semester 6, 7, development of complex software environments, non-functional and data requirements. And in business, we do in the first semester or the second semester, basically, we do business analysis, process modeling, statistics, data handling. In the third semester, we do the old third semester of business. We do business process optimization, dashboarding, low-code systems, development and implementation. And of course, in the end, we do IT governance, IT architecture, and predictive modeling. Okay, the degree preparations. Well, if you prepare for a dual degree, so basically you study a few years in Indonesia and then you would want to prepare for a degree in the Netherlands and probably also a job in the Netherlands for a few years. Oh, I mistyped something here. I see my address is not correct, but I'll correct that later on. Be sure that you have a complete portfolio of your practical experience, because that's normally Indonesian students are very well prepared in a theoretical way, but sometimes we're missing out on some practical preparations. For instance, did you do a big integral project? That's important. And whether you did that within IT or elsewhere or within the school or outside the school, you can all add it to your portfolio. It could all be important, basically. So be sure to have a complete portfolio of your practical experience with examples and durations and the goal of the project, internships, summary of your achievements that shows your practical experience. Basically, we have to look into how well you can adapt to our way of teaching also, and also the practical parts of our way of teaching. Prepare the intake interview well. If you want a rehearsal, you can do that with me, Michel van Eekhout. And again, I mistyped here, it is not Fontys, but Fontys.nl. This gives a better chance to perform better. Be aware, I'm available the next coming 2 weeks. Then I will be traveling in India for 2 weeks, also for the dual degree for the Indian universities. So then perhaps it will be much more on your time schedule, of course. The difference is 4.5 hours. But then again, probably I'm also traveling. At your university in Indonesia, try to work on your soft skills, like working in projects, and not only small projects, but projects where more disciplines come together. So a project where the back end and the front end is integrated into something or whatsoever, that's interesting. Or a project where Not only the software is important, but also integrating it with hardware. That's more integral. That we call an integral assignment. And if the assignment comes from industry, then it's even better because then it's an authentic task. Take the leading groups. What was your role in these groups? Work on strict planning basis, give and receive feedback during using tools like 360-degree feedback. You have to imagine that we work very much like you would be working in industry. So basically, your peers and of course your teacher will somehow value your contribution. And that's a bit different than doing an exam. It's more or less proving your value in that group, but also explaining it to others. And our idea of teaching is that if you will be able one of my first professors always said, if you want to know the subject, start teaching it. Then you will know the subject. Do degree requirements. Well, of course, we need a signed MOU, so a memorandum of understanding and a memorandum of agreement with the compared curriculum regarding your university. We have an intake procedure at first, a selection by the university, yield score. And you can have comparable Cambridge scores or TOEFL scores or whatsoever. But the average for IELTS is 6.0. 4 subparts: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And be aware, especially speaking and understandable English is very, very important since you're working in groups. So your peers should be able to understand what you're talking about, and that's perhaps even more important than writing. Preferable someone who can arrange all visa and required documents for travel and stay in the Netherlands. Intake process at Fontys with the project leader and one expert teacher of one of the profiles. So I will be part of that intake process and probably a teacher in the field where you're doing your dual degree. Advice intake process will go to the exam board and policy board for final approval in case of positive advice. So it is not an automatic procedure. It's a procedure where we look on a one-on-one basis what your achievements are, because you also have a lot of electives and also all the kinds of things. So we already did compare your curriculum, but then we have to look into the achievements of your curriculum and of course your portfolio regarding your practical works. Then we offer the students either a 1 year, a 1.5 year, or a 2 year program at Fontys. And Fontys can offer a max of 1, sometimes when available, 2-year housing contracts for around €750 a month or a bit less. Don't want to pinpoint that too much, but basically we can take care of your housing in the first year, and sometimes in some cases also in 2 years. That's important because the housing situation in Eindhoven is not difficult, but it's, let's say, challenging. How do you work in the let me click on this one. How do you work in the Netherlands? Well, of course, there's a lot which you can see in the pictures. A lot of collaboration in smaller groups. Max group size is 6. That's due to the fact that we work on scrum tables. Scrum tables are tables that can up and can go down. You can have a standing meeting or in the way you work in Scrum and so on. You work from 9 to 6 to 9 to 4, 4 p.m. So that's 1,600 hours, whatever format you will put it in. Basically, if you do your job from 9 to 4, then there's not much work to be done in the evening hours. Then basically, depending on the quality of your collaboration with others, then you're pretty much done. The teacher is either a coach So he looks at your learning process or an expert. He can help you with the technical challenges. There will be no exams. Of course, we will look into your progress, but that's more in an formative way. So we look at the growth, whether you get forward in that semester. We don't have that many books anymore, and that's due to the fact that in an early stage of the bachelor, you will learn some basics, then books would be suitable. But in this stage, often what you learn is so new that most of these things are not captured in a book yet, which takes a throughput time of 3, 4, 5 years. And then in ICT, it's already outdated. So we have not many books. So it doesn't cost also a lot of money in books, basically. And we have a lot of practical assignments. We have an innovative learning environment. So, for instance, the left building, that's typically our ICT building at the Rachelsmolen campus. So that's the campus across the street of Eindhoven University of Technology. There are now, I think, one, two, three, four, five completely new buildings which were built the last 5 years, so they're completely new. So modern, not outdated, a lot of light coming in, cozy on the one hand, but on the other hand also very effective for the learning process. It's a very open environment. It's like when you go into your own house, basically. We try to make it as cozy as possible because the learning process can hurt sometimes a little bit, but overall should be a pleasant process. This is a little overview of not all our partners in education and innovation, but I only want to mention a few. We have, for instance, of course, ASML, which is the biggest chip manufacturing machine maker in the world. So everywhere in the world where they make chips, they use the machines of ASML. And you can imagine that everybody can make chips, but not everybody can make machines that make chips. We also have companies like ProDrive, which grew very fast and who make, for instance, for BMW or for Mercedes, all the automation parts in the cars. And nowadays for electric cars, of course. But we also have, for instance, soccer club PSV. We have, of course, Philips, which is still in Eindhoven. We have DAF, who makes trucks. And be aware of the fact that we are in 1 hour of the Ruhrgebiet, and nowadays the defense industry is really booming, and everything which has to do with defense industry, of course, of the situation within Europe and within the world. We have to be able to speed up our defense industry, and the Rhine Consult, for instance, in Germany is very nearby, also an opportunity. Okay, practical matters. How does it go? The admission requirements, what's necessary? Of course, a diploma, secondary education, an English certificate 6.0 or higher, Cambridge 169 or higher, or TOEFL 80 or higher. And sometimes we have specific subject requirements depending on the program of your choice. But in this case, it will be all incorporated in that intake. How to apply? Well, you have to go to StudyLink, but more important, of course, you also have to apply to Miss Tina. Miss Tina is handling all the dual degrees for us. And more important, she will, with the university, do some kind of pre-selection to make sure that all the students that apply also comply And that's important. Deadline is for the September intake, May 15, June 15, May 15 for non-Europeans. And for dual degree, even take an extra month, I would say, because we have to do an intake. We really have to go through your portfolio and so on. So I would say even the April 15th, it should be very much clear whether you want to come here or not for the dual degree. We are working on dual degrees with several universities now in Indonesia. We're speeding also up the process as much as possible. Normally, it takes one more whole year to get to an agreement. We try to speed it up in your and other universities. But yeah, well, we can't bend steel with our own hands, so I can't promise you anything before September. But basically, for the next intake after September, it should be all arranged. Tuition fees. If you have a Dutch parent or a European parent, whether it's French, German, Norwegian, Swedish, whatever, if it's part of the European Union, it's 2,500 euro. If not, then we are in the non-European tuition fee, in the higher tuition fee, so that's 12,500 euro per year, by the way, not per semester, but per year. Study costs, living expenses is around 1,100, 1,500 monthly, including rent, groceries, health insurance, and so on. Be aware that everybody in Netherlands have to has health insurance. It's not very expensive and it covers all costs of health. For non-Europeans, prove that you have access to a certain amount of money, 7,500 per semester, because we also want to make sure that you will be able to finance your studies. Financial aid options, we have study loans via the European Union and via Duo. Via Duo is approximately 320 euros a month. And of course, the Holland Scholarship for non-European students. We do assist in getting your accommodation, and that's more or less Fontys student dormitories and housing contracts. So that can be a separate house, it can be a big building. We also work together in housing with the University of Technology in Eindhoven. They just got the headquarters of Philips and transformed that to, I think, 300 or 500 lofts, something like that. It's a huge building which completely was restyled to house students. And recently, some 3 new dormitories, big student buildings are delivered by across the street by the University of Technology. So the housing issues are getting easier, are not completely solved yet, but we can help you with housing, and that's important. Teacher journey, we have an expert teacher, we have a technical coach, and we have a semester coach. And at this moment, we're talking also, you will also have a dual degree coordinator. So that's an extra which will go into the special needs of the dual degrees, because of course you're new to our university, so you have to have some introduction, and your needs are different than the students that are already there for 3 or 4 years. So to wrap up, preparation, let me have a look. I have to click on this one. So how do we work into the? We have to. Oh, this one I skip. Job opportunities. First of all, when you graduate, you have what we call a search year. So your visa will be also working for 1 year after your diploma ceremony. So you have 1 whole year to find a job. But basically, most of the students, they either stay at the company where they do their graduation and they will already have a job when they graduate, or very soon after that, because there's a real big need for good software engineers in our area. Then, of course, also the Dutch government thinks that it's very important to get international students to Eindhoven. So they initiated the project Beethoven to invest in the semiconductor region, covering ICT and engineering programs with 2.5 billion euro investment. So that's huge. As you know, European Union also invests some 200 billion in our own artificial intelligence environment. So we don't want to be depending on America that much, or other big entities, but we want to have that for our own in Europe, and that's important to be independent. Goal of all that investment is to create more jobs, housing, and better living environments, mainly focusing on growth outside of Europe, coming to Eindhoven and the surrounding area. You have to imagine the area around Veldhoven, around ASML. That's basically, let's say more than 50% of the people who live there are coming from other countries. And so it's a very international environment. First, and we're not talking about a few people from India or Indonesia, but hundreds or thousands of people from India and Indonesia. So it's quite an international environment. We're building also a social and sustainable environment for all to integrate easier. And we have 145 million euro invested in joining educational universities. And basically, plans are worked out as we speak. Our director is very busy with the Beethoven project. And you can find all about this at https://brainporteindhoven.com. And then, of course, choose the English version. I wanted to show you a small movie, but I'll send that to Miss Tina, and perhaps you can look at it later on to get an impression of Eindhoven. I can click on it, but I don't know whether it works. I have to click on, that I already thought of. I have to get into. Let me have a look whether this works. You see, we also already have a lot of security issues getting into systems here. No, it's not found, sorry. This movie was indeed deleted. Let me get to my presentation again. How do I get to my presentation again? How do I get back? One moment.
You are still in your presentation, Michelle.
I'm in my presentation. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Questions? Are there any questions? I'll look into the chat. Whether there are some general remarks. Yeah, you already mentioned my address. Thank you, Tina.
So anyone who want to ask can drop the question at the chat box or maybe raise your hand. And while we are waiting for any
Question
questions.
is, have you ever had any dual degree students from? Yes, of course, we had dual degree quite a lot, basically. If you, I don't know how that is with privacy, but Tina can help you with that, because we have help me, Tina, Petra University is, I think, from Surabaya.
Yes, we have
And
cooperation with Petra University. We have cooperation with ISTTS and ITS and Telkom University in Bandung at this moment. So for partner universities in Indonesia, and we have been accepting students for dual degree programs since 2006. So hundreds of students have done this dual degree program.
to mention the level of these dual degree students, I'm working now for 15 years, and I had two times I had a student who delivered graduation work with a 10 out of 10 grade. And one of them was a dual degree student from Indonesia. So he graduated with a 10. I see that. Do you provide scholarships? Basically, the scholarships, we had scholarships before. These scholarships were skipped because there was a ruling in the Netherlands that you could only spend education money directly on education. We are now in the process, but that's not realized at this moment yet. But we're in the process of organizing these by industry, but it's not there yet. So for now, you have to rely on the scholarships, like the Holland scholarships. Question: do you provide scholarship for master degree in finance? Well, same answer. We're not allowed to do scholarships except of the scholarships that are available via the Holland scholarship.
Yeah, it is now called NL scholarships.
NL scholarship. Okay, thank you, Tina.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
And be aware that especially dual degree, but also doing a master. Nowadays, we have a master which is already done for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. Also, the dual degree can be an excellent preparation for the 1 year master we have. So normally, when you go to the technical university and you do your master, you have to do, after a bachelor, you have to do a pre-master of half a year and then 2 years a master. In our case, if you do the Fontys master or of applied IT, then you can do the dual degree as a preparation, because getting into this master is quite difficult. But if you do a preparation via the dual degree, so the last year of our bachelor, even if you have a complete bachelor diploma, then you will be more easily admitted to that 1 year master. So within 2 years, you'll get to a master comparable to the master at the TUE. It's at the same level. It's Master of Science. Then do all English certificates need to be fulfilled, or is just one sufficient? No, one is sufficient. So it's either the TOEFL, either the Cambridge, either the IELTS.
Yeah. IELTS 6 is comparable to IPT TOEFL 80.
Yeah, and 169 Cambridge. I
Any
think
other
that
questions?
I always forget the name of that association, but there's also an Indonesian association in Eindhoven. Do you remember the name, Tina?
PPI, Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia. PPI.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Of course, the program is delivered in English. There's no minimum of Dutch language required. But what we do now recently is, but that's on your own time. You will have the availability to join Dutch classes, and that's in the evening. We especially prepare the students a bit better for the industry, and normally English is sufficient. So The program is completely in English. Teachers speaks English. A lot of my teachers are also from a foreign country, so they only speak English basically as a second language. But it's, let's say, convenient to learn some Dutch if you want to also want to communicate later on if you have a job in the Brainport area with your peers at the coffee machine about your holidays or whatsoever, then it can be a good idea to learn some Dutch, but it's not necessary and it's not. We're not France and we're not Germany. Eh? We're a small country where English is basically the second language of every Dutchman. Okay. Do we have online classes? Well, basically, our educational system is constructed in a way that we believe that a lot of the learning comes from cooperation and collaboration. And as you know, and as you experience at this moment, collaboration online is not similar, is not the same as being there. So basically, a lot of things are happening not online, but on site. And we think that that's important. You spend the 9 to 4 at Fontys in a classroom or in another environment, or what we call an open innovation lab, or one of our labs. We have, to mention, we just invested quite a lot of money in one of the most famous media labs, where we can make 3D movies. Where dynamically the background is not green but is dynamically changing, which is quite sophisticated nowadays. So you can be in a lab, you can be in a classroom, you can be in an innovation lab, but most is on site. We do some things online when you get into the graduation semester. And then I often have, you can imagine, I can't travel to every company multiple times. So a lot of the sessions I do with my graduation students, I do online. An internship program where the university collaborate with a partner company. Yeah, of course. Every internship is hosted by a partner company. Internships are always at a company. So it will always be an experience in a company. And that's also why a lot of graduate students also stay there. They get a job at that company. If they do a good graduation project, then for most of the companies, it's yeah, basically the graduation is also testing out the student for half a year. I see no other questions coming up.
I think there is one about
Yeah.
internship.
Didn't I answer that one just now? The internship.
Ah,
Hello, is there an internship program where the university collaborates with partner companies? Yeah, you mean partner companies, not partner universities, I assume. We, as I said, we do all our internships are done in companies, and you get real assignments. Are you allowed to work while studying in the Netherlands? If so, what's the max hour per week? Of course, you're allowed to work in the Netherlands. And how many hours a week? Well, that depends, of course. Most students who have a job or have a side job, they be aware. It very much also depends very much on your nationality. For European students or students with a European passport, there are no limitations for working. For European students with a scholarship, there can be an obligation to work for, I think, 56 hours a month or something like that. And for non-European students, well, they can have a side job in hospitality, in hotels, in restaurants, in whatever, but also in ICT. Often they also work in ICT. But be aware, the dual degree program is quite challenging, is quite time-consuming. So, and if you know, the average salary after you graduated is around 3,000-4,000 euro a month, brut. So before taxes. And most students concentrate during their studies on their studies and not and have a small side job often.
Okay, I
For
think.
non-EU students, Michelle and guys, legally you can work 16 hours per week.
Yeah, but that would also be the maximum to
Yeah.
combine, I would say, because 16
Yeah.
hours and then 40 hours study, that's already 56
56.
hours, and that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that will be the last question. Miss Tina, maybe you have something to add?
Yes. If you have any questions, guys, I'm based in Surabaya. I've written down my contact number and email address. You can contact me anytime because we are in the same time zone. But if you like to ask about the content, you can contact Michel van Eekhout. I have also written down his email address. And at the end of this year, around November, there will be a teacher, either Mr. Frank Henning or Michel van Eekhout will visit Indonesia, and hopefully we can visit Ciputra University again. And by that time, let's hope that the agreement between Ciputra University and Fontys University will be set up. So there will be opportunity for you guys to study at Fontys. I'll keep you updated via Bu Teresia. And yeah, if in the meantime you have questions, once again, please feel free to contact us. Thank you for this opportunity, Bu Teresia and Bu Evelyn.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you very much for this opportunity to elaborate on our university, and I wish you a lot of success with your choices.
Okay. So maybe before we take a group photo, we will have some information for the students. It's about KPIO. So for UC regular students, you guys can log in into your GIS and fill out the survey. And for UC online student, please complete the webinar attendance using the displayed QR. It will be displayed soon. And please note that the survey will only valid for 1 hour after this event ends. We will give you 2 minutes to scan the QR. Guys, this is a G form, so just scan it using a normal camera, not GIS scan. For Mr. Michel and Miss Tina, please wait for a moment because we will have a group photo after this. Okay, so there is a question about IPM, IMDN. You guys can go to GIS and fill the survey. The QR is only for UC online student. Okay, so now we will do the group photo before we end the session today. For all participants, you guys can turn on your camera. Come on guys, open your camera. Okay, is the IT team ready?
Yes.
Okay, I will count to 1, 2, 3 for the first slide. And then the second one, 1, 2, 3. Third slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Maybe the IT can also screenshot the rest. Okay, now that it's finished, thank you for Mr. Michel and Miss Tina for being with us today.
You?
Also, yeah. And
You're
also,
welcome.
You?
thanks for all of the participants for your enthusiasm and engagement in today's session. See you in the next session.
Thank you,
Okay, bye-bye.
Putina. Thank you,
Thank you,
Michelle.
Mr. Michelle, Miss Tina.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Excuse
you.
me.
Miss Tina, Mr. Michelle.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Mister.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Michelle, for sharing with us. On behalf of Universitas Ciputra, we are so happy for this
You.
session, and hopefully our student can get a lot of insight from you, and maybe there's opportunity for our student to join the program that you have been shared before. And after
You're
this,
welcome.
we will end the session, and I will send some documentation through email to you.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Michelle.
you.
See you next time.
Bye bye.
Terima kasih, teman-teman.